Sfas Parashas Noach. If you have a Sfas great. If not, then it's also great. Parashas Noach, Tov Reish Lamed Zayin. The Sfas is divided into years. Tov Reish Lamed Zayin. It's Parashas Noach. It's the week of the flood. There's a flood that's swallowing up the world because people corrupted their ways. And God said, I made the world that people should have pleasure. People should have the ultimate pleasure, but the world is real, it's for keeps. And there were those that said, I just want to do whatever I want. And Hashem said, the natural consequence of moving away from Hashem is moving out of reality. God is reality. And therefore, the more that I'm a God person, the more literally in reality I am. The more a person, God forbid, moves away from God, he's leaving reality. You guys saw that movie, Back to the Future?
Oh, yeah.
Marty McFly, when he starts disappearing. He's like, what's happening? Right? It's like that. That movie is like a bit of a chilling image. A guy who does Averas, he moves out of reality. So that's what the flood is. It's a dissolving of those that were leaving reality without getting into all the things they were doing. Sadly, there's too many comparisons to what's going on now. But that being said, we know that Hashem always makes everything on opposite energetic levels, which means on the level that there was a flood that flooded the world because there was so much impurity that was going on in the world. On the opposite side, there's a flood of holiness available right now. Could you imagine just being flooded with love and compassion and Torah? And the swim in a huge mikveh of purity. So that energy is available right now. That energy is available right now. Of literally a massive flood. Okay? I want to just give one more point of introduction. It's a very deep thing I heard from Tzimayer. That all of Tishrei, Chevra, we just had a month of the most unbelievable days. Rosh Hashanah, Seder Semei Tshuva, intense stuff, right? Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Hoshana Rabbah, just endless. Simcha Beis HaShoeva parties, ecstatic dance parties in the Sukkah, Simchas Torah, Shmini Atzeres. The Sfarim explain that all of those days are like planting seeds inside of our soul of holiness. Planting these seeds. Literally impregnating us with holy seeds that are going to sprout forth for the whole year. When you put these seeds inside of you, now they're, so to speak, dormant, and as the year goes on, you start to flower into that person. So what does God do? He says, after this month of you put inside all of these seeds of holiness, each one of these days are very powerful genetic information that's going to sprout within us. So Hashem says, how do you make things grow? You need the waters. You need Noach. You need the flood. But not a flood of impurity. You need now the rains. The rains to come, and the rains are going to start to allow all of that seed that was planted inside of us to grow and to flourish. And of course, what is the water? Ein mayim ela Torah. This is the time to learn. That's why we have 6 months now. Not only is it going to be raining outside as well, but talking about the Torah's the flood, the waters of learning, the waters of Torah. So to the degree that you had great days then, you got to water them now. So now it's 6 months of Torah and Torah, just swimming in the Torah. That's how you feel outside. It's already getting cooler. Mashi v'ruach married again. You felt that, right? On my bike in the morning, it's pretty cool. It's the wet payas, it's cold because the mayim, it's moist in the air. We're going to start watering all of that work that we did during these days. So look inside Tov Reish Lamed Zayin Sfas. Eila told us Noach ish tzadik. It's a funny thing. The first verse of the Parashas says Noach's name twice. These are the offspring of Noach, Ish Tzadik. And Noach was a righteous man. Like the Rosh Hashiva mentioned, the main children that we have, of course we should also have children in the right time, but the main children are your good deeds. They are your true offspring. That's why it says, and these are the offspring of Noach. He was very righteous. You're about to tell me who his children were. Why did you divert and start talking about his good deeds? Says Rashi, because the real children of all of us is the legacy, the good deeds that we do in this world. And then it mentions kids, so don't think I could just do good deeds and not have kids. He had kids also. You have to have children. In the right time, of course, we're talking. The Zohar says, anytime that it says a person's name twice, it means that, we all exist down here. There's a Moshe Chaim down here, but there's also a Moshe Chaim up there. There's a David down here, and there's also a David up there. There's a Yehuda Eitan down here, and there's a Yehuda Eitan. There's a Shlomo and a Shlomo. Anytime that it says a person's name twice in the Torah, it means that the you down here became like a mirror image of the perfected you up in heaven. There's a perfected you up there. That's why, who else do we find their name mentioned twice? Avram, Moshe, Shmuel, Noach. That Noach, the Noah down here, became like the Noah, the perfected Noah up there. So all of us have this Mason here and this Mason up there. And when God is going to write your book, and you're going to all read it, we're all going to read it after 120 years in heaven, you're getting a book written. So there's the greatest achievement is that Mason down here became like that perfected one up there. That it's a mere image. Our whole life is to work on that, is to achieve our potential, that maximum potential. So it says, Eva told us Noach ish tzadik. And then he quotes from the Zohar. Ubezara kodesh, Noach, an amazing thing. You know what Noach is called? Shabbos. Noach is Shabbos. What do you say about that, Zohar? Noach, you're like, elaboration please. Noach is Shabbos. Noach, who Shabbos? That's the Zohar. Now you know the secrets of the universe. Noach, who Shabbos. Noach is Shabbos. Now, anybody have any connections off the bat? Why Noach would be Shabbos?
No, rest.
Beautiful. That's number one. Noach means to rest. Ba Shabbos ba menucha. Shabbos is all about rest. Ve'yonach b'yom hashvi. It even says Noach's name. And Hashem nacht. Hashem rested on the seventh day, so to speak. So there's already tremendous allusion to Noach and Shabbos. Yes?
Shabbos is a time of renewal, and also the flood was a time of destruction.
Beautiful. Noach, so to speak, was the renewal of the whole world. We renew ourselves from Shabbos for the new week, which is like a new world. Noach renewed himself and began the world anew. Vayonach b'yom hashvi. So the Zohar, you're going to think about this a lot. Noach is Shabbos. Menucha v'simcha. Naicha, the nishmasa. Noach means Shabbos. And then he brings another Zohar. This fast sentence just hits you, like, over and over with good stuff. De'isa, like it says, man de noter bris, somebody who guards the bris, somebody who guards the covenant, ikri tzaddik. He's called a tzaddik. Was Noach called a tzaddik?
Yes.
Yeah, it says it in the verse. Elo told us Noach ish tzaddik. He was a tzaddik. Noach is called Shabbos. Is Shabbos a bris? Of course Shabbos is a bris. A bris means a covenant. What is a covenant? A covenant means that I make a bond with somebody. Like Geffin's saying, I make a deep bond with somebody, and we have agreed that I'm going to give something of myself, you're going to give something of yourself, and we're going to bond with each other on an even higher level. That's why the Apter Rebbe says there was such a thing of kings that they would do these things where they would take blood, they would prick some blood, they would put it into a wine cup, and the other one would take blood and put it into wine. They would both drink from the wine. and they would establish a bond between their kingdoms, like blood brothers. That we are now bonded, we have a covenant that we will join forces when they would marry children together, that our kingdoms will forever be unified. And we're going to give some. I'm giving something of myself. I'm giving literally my blood. Nefeshum bedam. That you're giving literally. And we're going to bond something on a higher level. And in that covenant, it means that there's a sacred bond here that we can't break that bond. A covenant is a very deep thing. It means that I've given myself to something that's sacred. I can't break it. I can't break it. Otherwise, I've broken the covenant. And that's bigger than the two of us. Something was lost. Something was lost. God forbid. So Shabbos is called a bris. Hashem says, I want to have this covenant with you. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael es haShabbos, la'aseh Hashem l'doros bris olam. There's a bris forever that I want to give to you, to Klal Yisrael. That's a special covenant. I want to have this special covenant that you're gonna give it yourself. Shabbos means that you're given over to Shabbos, and Hashem says, I'm giving myself to you, because you always have two sides. And the person has to be careful to make sure that he has his bris and doesn't make other covenants. Other people are offering you covenants. I don't know if you realize that. There's all sorts of people out there trying to offer you, come make a covenant with me, make a bris with me. Somebody was telling me that somebody he knows was recently at one of these like parties, frat parties. And they're at the party. It's that time of year. You get it? The beginning of the year. And they're at this party, and the person who I know, the person said to them that said, one of your friends, I saw somebody there at the party. And the guy was like, oh no. And the person who was at the party was telling the person that I know, he said, oh yeah, and I think he's going to be like, I think they call it rush.
Oh yeah.
He's like, is that what they call it? Rushing?
Rushing. Join the fraternity.
Rushing,
You're
yeah.
Rushing.
He's not rushing to mitzvahs, you get it?
No. Yeah.
He's Russian.
He's rushing,
Yeah, that's
rushing.
Russian.
Like hazing and
Yeah.
indoctrination.
Yes.
And essentially, what are they really talking about? What is it? It's about a bris. You're going to become a brother.
They call it that.
Yeah, I know. And there's a bris here. We're making a covenant with you. And a little bit of blood would be like, they do weird
Maybe
stuff.
They do.
And it's like,
I mean,
it's like, get me out of it. It's been so many, but yeah.
I mean, I would argue that fraternities really replace for Gentiles what Judaism serves for us in an authentic way. They're just trying to have a reason to sing and drink and be in simcha, but it's fake. They're generating it out of nothing.
So we want humanity to have a bris with God. We want humanity to have a bris with God. That's the whole idea, is that there's a lot of other things that are offering you a bris. And what is that bris offering? Girls and party and VIP access and all that, I don't know,
The club. Be cool.
there was a guy from 20 years ago. His name was Chad. Brad. He had I was like, ooh, I heard of him. Wow. It's like, if you join, you're gonna be able to wear his football jacket. We keep it in a case. We keep it in like a glass case with lights coming into it. Really? I heard whoa, Brad's jacket? No way! It's that type of stuff. If you join us, you're gonna get all the perks. You're gonna get all the things. You just have to, basically give your life to this. And it's nothing short of that. You're selling your soul, like they say, to. So, we also believe in a bris. Not only do we believe in it, it's the most important thing to us. To have a bris, a covenant with God. So Noach is called Shabbos. Shabbos is the bris. A person who guards the bris is called a tzaddik. What is this bris all about? It says the Sfas Emes. Perish bris, his kashrus kol abriya b'shorsha. The bris means, the covenant means, I become connected to the deepest place of who I am. When I become connected to the deepest place of who I am, what do I find there? I find God. When I become connected to the deepest place of who I am, and I say that I want to live my life from that place, I find God and I make the bond there. That's what it means, Noach, Noach. Noach returned to the deepest place of who he is, the perfected image of him up in heaven. He touched that place, he grabbed onto God, and he said, I'm not moving from that place for anything. And in that place, there's a bond with God. And anybody who tries to do something against God, he realizes that's breaking the bond. That's breaking the covenant. I can't break this covenant for anything. The covenant is sacred. There's a sacred bond. That's Shabbos Kodesh. That's why Shabbos is like our big, big thing, if you haven't noticed. Shabbos, it says if a person doesn't keep Shabbos, he's like not even in the club. He could do other things, but Shabbos is like, it would be like the guy, it's like, took that jacket, like Brad's jacket, I don't know, and he like ripped off Brad's name, and he like put his own name on there, and he strutted around like, no, that's sacrilegious, man. You can't do that. Or he like gave it to another frat. No! You traitor, man! You traitor! We thought we knew you. You made a bris with us. You're one of us.
Not cool.
Right? Yeah. This is war. Right? This is. So you should know. Hashem also means business. When the Dor HaMabel, when the generation of the flood said, we're going to break the bris, and they did everything against God. Everything. Stealing and cheating and lying. And they broke that covenant. So Hashem said, like Martin McFly, you're going to leave reality now. And the flood came. It says this Fasemis. Ki kol davar yesh lo shiur shlamala. Everything has a root up in heaven. What we see down here is like the tip of the iceberg but flipped upside down. This is we're barely seeing. Your soul, the Sfarim say, is so big that your neshama goes from here all the way up to the highest of the heavens. The part of your soul that's in this body is compared to like your body in a shoe. Meaning, your body, this is like the shoe here. You guys are just a bunch of shoes. Me too. Barefoot. Bunch of shoes. The soul, pardon the pun, the soul goes all the way up. If I look at a guy's shoe, I have a conversation with you. How you doing? Yeah, Vivo, solid, pretty good. Len, pretty good. You're like, you weirdo, talk to me. So, it would be like being so limited and think that the people are just their shoes. No, there's much more. That I'm more than the part that goes in my shoe. I'm me. So to us, who we are, goes way up to the highest place in Shemayim. Yeah, David.
So what would our head be then?
Our head is by the throne of glory. Our head is totally connected. Is the highest point of connection with God. Is the bris. Where the bris is totally clear. The bris, that's what the bris requires. You need to know any bris that's established, there needs to be a conscious decision. I know that I'm engaging in this. I know that I'm now bonded in this.
8-day-old.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
Beautiful question. When it comes to the child, who made the first bris? Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu made the first bris. The question was, well then why do we give our kids a bris on 8 days? They don't really know what's going on. So here's a very deep answer. Avram Avinu was how old when he got his bris? 99 years old. And then he had Yitzchak at 100. He's 99. Did he know what he was doing?
Yeah.
He had absolute consciousness. Avram Avinu made the ultimate bris with God, complete conscious, becomes the first Jew, now puts into the DNA of the Jewish people for all eternity that we are always connected to God in this bris, intrinsically. That's why we give the bris at 8 days, because we are already connected to God. Our neshamas are completely connected in this bris. That's why a person could do the wrong thing his whole life. All of a sudden he wakes up like, I can't do this anymore. Why not? You did this your whole life. I don't know, I just can't do this anymore. The answer is because in his soul, that bris is powerfully bonded. That's why we find there were many people who gave their lives to die, al Kiddush Hashem, Jewish martyrdom, rather than subject themselves, bow down to this statue or we kill you. The Nazis would say, Yimach Shema V'Zichra. And yet a person didn't keep kosher, didn't do anything, so bow down to the thing. What do you care? And he said, I will not. Why not? We know you. You eat nevelos and treifas, Yom Kippur. So, and he said, I cannot do it. And the Sfarim explains, the Tanya talks about this a lot, because there's something shining inside the Yid that says, I can never do that. And those that sometimes fell, the minority, were oftentimes those that were the hyper-intellectuals that made so many excuses, like probably it's like, he wants me to do this and this. But those that just were straight, they kept that bris. So then you might say, so then where's my decision? The answer is, it's not enough that you got your bris at 8 days. You have to guard the bris. The bris that you got at 8 days shows that your soul is always connected in this bris. From Avram Avinu. But the bris that you have day in and day out is the guarding of that covenant. That's a conscious choice. When the guy says, let's rush, you're like, no, sorry, I already made, I'm in a different frat. I'm in God's frat. It's a different one. I don't know how you spell that one in Greek.
Alpha,
Is that what?
no, I'm saying
Alpha's God, right? Alpha's number one. Aleph. I'm in the Aleph. Alpha Aleph. I'm in the God frat. I'm sorry. That's called guarding the bris. When there'll be temptation throughout one's life to break the bris and you say, no, I want to guard the bris. I'm guarding the bris. So Noach was the one that was guarding the bris. Well, the whole world says, just break the bris, Noah. Break the bris. And you know who got the first bris? Adam. Adam Rishon. Adam got the first bris. What was the first bris? God put Adam in the garden. Of course, that garden also means this entire world. And he said, I want you to work and guard the garden. Don't do things that are outside of this covenant. Don't do things that are outside of this covenant. And the world fell for 10 generations until Noach. And Noach, well, the world was in a horrible place. Noach said, I will guard the covenant. And the whole world started again from Noach. This is the week, my friends, to think about Noach, to guard the bris, to guard Shabbos Kodesh, to say that there's a part of me that's up in the highest places of heaven. I want to touch that place, because from that place, everything makes sense. Everything is clear, like it says, Tzadik be'emunaso yichya. A tzaddik lives from his emunah, from his awareness that God runs everything. There's no other option. And I want to be part of that team. B'ezrat Hashem, we should be connected to the energy of the great tzaddik, to Noach. This is the week of Noach. Next week we'll get to Avram, don't worry. This is the week though, don't get so excited. This is Noach week. This is the week for all of humanity. To be at tzaddik, to say that the world is offering us a bris, all sorts of brisim, some funny things are going on out there. Sorts of funny offers to sell oneself to all sorts of funny things. Run away. Don't let them make a bris with you. There's only one bris, with Hashem. With Hashem. To guard that bris. That's the bris of Shabbos Kodesh. That's the bris of goodness. The bris of love. Of deep happiness. That's the bris of continuing humanity. One of the main things that they were doing in the times of Noach is they were stopping to have children. They were just spilling seed everywhere. It was just pleasure for their own sake. There was no continuity. Part of the bris is that we continue on. We make families and we build with visions for the future to bring God into the world. It's not just about how can I get the maximum pleasure just for me. No, it's about my kids and my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. It's about continuity. That's the bris. That's the bris. So our message to humanity is, let's make the bris with Hashem. Let's show the world that there's something called truth, goodness. And we should mamish learn from Noach. And with Noach we can have Shabbos. And Noach is the letters Chen, grace. When we have the tzaddik and we have grace, the whole world will want to know Hashem. Bezrat Hashem, we should be zoich to this, and then the whole world will see Mashiach was the greatest grace. Bezrat Hashem, here b'yameinu Amen. Amen. Wonderful Shabbos, Rabbi Yisrael. We'll be here with the Rosh Yeshiva. So we're looking forward. Yeah, Bezrat Hashem, my family will be here with the Rosh Yeshiva. Thank you. Call to Shabbos Kodesh.